Sorry. Sorry, guys. I mistakenly ended the live stream, and now I want to get people to join the new one. So I'm posting something in the live chat of the old one, so people can go and join the new one right now. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I mistakenly ended the live stream, so I want to send in the old live chat so people can come to this new one. Sorry about that. I'm so sorry. I wanted to press something, and lo and behold, I just ended the live stream without knowing. My bad. I am so sorry. So sorry, guys. So sorry about that. It's not my internet. It's not my internet. I'm mere cricket. It was I was supposed I was supposed to click a button, and then I clicked the wrong button. I was like, whoa, I just ended the live stream. My goodness. So that was what happened. I'm so sorry about that. I am so sorry. It wasn't my internet. It was me. It wasn't my internet. It was me. It was me, guys. I am so sorry about that. I am so sorry about that. Let me fix this quickly. Sorry, because this new live stream just started. I need to fix something. Just give me a second. Let me fix this. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. We now have two live streams. We now have 2 live streams. Let me just set a few things, then I'll get to talking to you guys. Sorry. Give me a second. Give me a second. Chiki. Should I put the intro music? Do people want me to do dum 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 dum? There's no need for that, I believe. There is no need for that. I don't know. It wasn't technical difficulties, like I said earlier. It was mistake on my part. It was me. It was amateur. It was amateur hour. Okay, that was what it was. It was me doing something very amateurish. That was what it was. I really apologize for that. I hope I'm able to get everyone from there. All right. Thank you, Philip, for having my back. Unlike some people, thank you for having my back. Thank you so much for having my back. You never let me down. You never let me down. Thank you. All right, let's one more thing that I need to do before we continue the live stream. Okay, one more thing. Where was I? Kiki. Tum. Just listen to me as I'm playing the as I'm playing the pum 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 pum. All right. So yeah, this is where we stopped. We just listened to Rashida Tlaib. Rashida Tlaib. Okay. So yeah, here she is. Here's what she has to say. And okay, let's just go over to actually what happened. Okay. This is actually what happened with the whole, there's a ceasefire violation, whatever. What actually happened was this. Hamas, or Palestinian fighters, and they seem to be posing a very serious threat, there's this yellow line. Part of the ceasefire agreement is that the IDF will retreat to this yellow line. And the yellow line, from the line that has been drawn, Israel still has, like, the IDF still occupy like 51% of Gaza, right? 51% of Gaza is still under the control of the IDF, and then 49% is under the control of, is outside of their control, okay? And there's this yellow line that has been drawn, and Hamas fighters, all right, I will, Jax, I will. After the live stream, I will. All right, so Hamas fighters, or fighters from Palestine and Gazans, essentially, have been approaching the yellow line, which they are not supposed to approach. They've been coming towards the yellow line, which they are not supposed to come towards. That is a violation of the ceasefire agreement. Part of the ceasefire agreement is, okay, the militias in Gaza, whether you are working for Fatah, whether you're working for PLO, whether you're working for whatever, Palestinian Jihad, it doesn't matter, whether you're working for Hamas, as long as you seem to pose a threat, you're not supposed to approach this yellow line. Any person who approaches it and tries to cross it is in violation of the ceasefire agreement. And the report coming from the IDF is that many Palestinians who seem to be posing serious threats, some of them have been Hamas fighters, have been approaching this yellow line. And the recent one we have is that there have been an attack, a tank attack, as well as a sniper attack that has claimed the life of 2 IDF soldiers recently. And that was what Israel was responding to this threat that is coming from Palestine. We don't know who it is coming from. We are not saying this is from Hamas, we don't know who it is coming from, but it is coming from Gaza. And these are people that are being attacked, that Israel is carrying out airstrikes against. That is what Israel is trying to do, essentially defend itself from people who are trying to break Trump's ceasefire agreement. That is what is happening, okay? So all this talk about, oh, Israel is violating the ceasefire agreement, it is not. It is people from Palestine, people from Gaza that are trying to violate the ceasefire agreement. Don't come here, they are coming. Don't approach, they are approaching. I've seen drone footage of soldiers with arms, with guns, walking towards this yellow line. What is the IDF supposed to do? Ignore that? Of course not. They have to do something to stop it. Radical Muslims in the West and their cronies have this idea that whenever terrorists approach and are threatening your safety, they are supposed to do absolutely nothing. You are essentially supposed to do what Keir Starmer and the Labour and the Tories have been doing for years in the UK. You ignore or you downplay or you hide the fact that Islamic terrorists and Islamists are attacking you. You do nothing. You surrender your children to be slaughtered by them. So when they see a nation like Israel doing the opposite, trying to defend itself, for them, that is not how it is supposed to play out. Essentially, it is not supposed to play out like this. And anything that plays out contrary to how the Muslims expect is genocide. It's genocide. It's Islamophobia. They play the victims immediately. Everybody, every conflict with Muslims doesn't start when the Muslims attack. It always starts when the Christians or the other party or the receiving side responds. The receiving side responding is when the story always starts, as far as Muslims and their leftist allies are concerned. And that is what is playing out here again. We are seeing it happening again. Okay, we are seeing people ignoring the fact that this is a violation of a ceasefire agreement that is not being done by Israel, but being done by Hamas. Hamas are the ones, or not Hamas, but Gazans are the ones violating the ceasefire agreement. But in addition to that, there are other ceasefire violations that Hamas themselves have carried out. One, they're supposed to return the 28 dead bodies of Israeli hostages. They're supposed to return that, and thus far 16 of those dead bodies have yet to be returned. That has not happened. Is that not a violation of the ceasefire agreement? They have been going around which is something that people like Rashida will not mention and people like Hassan will not mention, is that Hamas have been going around this past few days, rounding up Palestinians and executing them publicly on camera. They have been carrying out mass executions in Gaza. Hamas have been doing that. There have been communal clashes in Gaza with Hamas shooting other clans. Okay, many people have died. Let me show you a report. This is from Time of Israel. So, of course, I know many people are going to say this is Zion news, of course. But I have no reason, and neither do you, of doubting, or neither do anyone have any reason to doubt this report. Hamas is killing hundreds. Head of Khan Yunis militia pleads for international community to protect Gazans against Hamas's executions. Hussam al-Astal, a militia leader operating with Israeli support in Khan Yunis area of southern Gaza, demand that the world protect Gaza's residents from Hamas's terror amid a wave of executions and killings carried out by the terror group. In a video obtained by the Times of Israel, Al-Astan thanks U.S. President Trump for his effort towards the ceasefire, but added that after saving Gazans from Israeli bombardment, the president should now save them from Hamas, who has been carrying out killings in the past few days. Hamas. Is anybody saying anything about it? No. In fact, what is even interesting is that there are some people who have carried the picture of some people who were killed in this communal clash, like Fafo, Mr. Fafo. They've posted it on their status and talked about it on their social media, saying, "Oh, you see, even after the so-called ceasefire, Israel is when this has nothing to do with Israel but everything to do with Hamas." That is what is going on, and that's what these people will not mention. That's what they will always fail to mention. Hamas is killing hundreds of children, women, youths, and elderly people under what charge? We come out of a military war into a war of terrorists, he declares. Today, Hamas is waging terror against the people in Gaza, killing with RPGs. Hamas is 100% ISIS. He says, calling on the international community to protect Gaza's residents from Hamas, adding a message to the people in Gaza and to the whole world. This person says, his militia is not seeking to rule Gaza or gain influence. We want to move the people from Hamas rule to civilian rule that will serve the residents. We want peace and we want to live. We are not fighting Hamas today in order to rule, he insists. In a conversation with the Times of Israel after the video was recorded, this guy stressed that his group is continuing to fight Hamas. And of course, we've also have Hamas officials who have come out publicly to say that Hamas is not surrendering their arms, which is the phase 2 of the Trump peace deal, which is where I believe that this peace deal is going to fall apart, because Hamas will not surrender their arms. That is suicide for them, because the moment they surrender, it's not because Israel is going to kill them. It's that other militias in Gaza is going to kill them. The only way for Hamas fighters and supporters and people and officials to remain alive after giving up their arms is to leave Gaza. But there are some news outlets that kind of surprise me. News outlets that is not Sky News or, essentially terrorist apologists on Twitter. Here you have the Wall Street Journal, the Wall Street Journal. And here is their headline, which I find very interesting. I mean, you would not expect this. But yes, this is the Wall Street Journal. And they say Israel hits dozens of targets in Gaza after saying Hamas killed troops in attack. Why I consider this interesting is that this is a headline that did not say, oh, this happened out of nowhere. They provided context in the headline. Okay, many headlines will just remove the context. But yeah, they are like, look, this is how it happened. This is what led to it. And this is what they are saying. Or at least this is what Israel is saying led to this. And here's what the article said. Israel conducted dozens of... They want me to pay to read the rest. But of course, you guys know I'm not going to read the rest. So I'll just read the first paragraph. Israel conducted dozens of airstrikes across Gaza on Sunday and halted the humanitarian aid into the enclave after it accuses Hamas of killing troops inside Israeli-controlled area in what is shaping up to be the biggest test yet of the fragile ceasefire. Okay? And here is the Washington Post. The Washington Post is also like, look, first of all, here is this opinion piece from the Washington Post. Okay, the Gaza ceasefire is cracking. Hamas is to blame. You know, of course, they're asking me to pay, which I will not do. No, I can't read the whole thing. Oh, interesting. Look at that. After a week, the fragile Gaza peace is fraying. Israel halted the transfer of aid to Gaza on Sunday and launched airstrike after it said Hamas fighters killed 2 Israeli soldiers. The United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia have threatened to withhold reconstruction funds so long as Gaza stays in power, giving the continued barbarity of Hamas a happy future for the people of Gaza is probably out of reach in the near term. Yet, full war is also unlikely to resume. Consider this a win for President Donald Trump, who brought about the ceasefire. It is also an acceptable outcome for Israel, which has seen the return of all living hostages. And perhaps most importantly, this might be the best one. This can be the best anyone can really hope for in the Middle East. Which is kind of interesting. This is what this article is saying. He's saying the current status quo is probably the best you will ever find with regards to what will ever happen in the Middle East, which is you're going to have other countries like the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia saying, no, you know what, we're not going to even reconstruct. We're not going to send reconstruction funds to Gaza if Hamas is still in power. Essentially the ceasefire agreement is just going to end at phase 1. Kind of. And look, that's what I think is going to phase 2. Like I've always said, phase 2 is where I think you're going to see the reality. The reality is that Hamas will not give up power. Hamas will not lay down their weapons. They would not. There is every likelihood that they will not. Vice President J.D. Vance plans to visit the region from Tuesday to Thursday to keep implementation of the ceasefire deal on track. The central problem is that Hamas' political legitimacy still hinges on violent confrontation with Israel. But with Israel's Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu riding high in the polls on the back of the hostage deal, there's little reason for Jerusalem to take the bait. Hamas has been severely degraded and won't pose an existential threat to Israel again for years. Indeed, Hamas is so weak right now that it faces challenges to its control of Gaza and can likely cling to power only by massacring its Palestinian enemies. Yet, just as it did in 2007, following violent clashes with its potential rival Fatah, which is what they are doing already. They're already rounding up people, trying to silence opposition by killing them essentially. You know, the Islamic way of handling opposition is to kill them. For those who don't know, there's no that. It's not debate. There's no debate. There's no political debate like you see between Zora Mamdani and Chris Cuomo or Andrew Cuomo. You don't see anything like that. All you see is, whoever wins in the battlefield gets to control Gaza. And that's what they're trying to do right now, trying to silence any form of opposition and consolidate power and try again to plan another attack against Israel in maybe 5 or 10 years. That is the strategy. Hamas is now, their policy is let's live to fight another day, essentially. But what I find interesting is that the Washington Post is running this opinion piece. And it's not just an opinion piece. Here's another one from the Washington Post. Here is another one from the Washington Post. This is main headline, okay? Not opinion poll, not opinion piece. Main headline. Amid shaky truths, Israel says, I am not... Can you allow me to read this? They will not allow me. Can you allow me to read this then? Israel says it struck Gaza after Hamas attacks. You can see them saying it again. Yeah, I'm not paying. Anyways, so that's from the Washington Post. And here is the statement from the IDF concerning what is happening. IDF, this is from the IDF Twitter. This is from the IDF's Twitter account. Earlier today, terrorists fired an anti-tank missile and gunfire towards IDF troops operating to dismantle terrorist infrastructure in the Rafah area in southern Gaza, in accordance with the ceasefire agreement. In response, the IDF has begun striking in the area to eliminate the threat and dismantle tunnel shafts and military structures used for terrorist activities. These terrorist actions constitute a blatant violation of the ceasefire agreement, and the IDF will respond firmly. That is what is going on. That is the part of the conflict that people from the pro-Hamas side, I don't even call them pro-Palestinians, the pro-Hamas side, that's the part where they always will ignore. They will always ignore that part. That's what you get from Mahdi Hassan with this tweet where he's just obviously denying it, saying all week the pro-Israel and pro-Trump supporters screamed at us in unison. Where aren't you celebrating the ceasefire? You know, because we knew it wouldn't last. Of course. Why did he know it wouldn't last? Not because of Hamas and because of how untrue to their words they are and how they are always going to there's no honor amongst these people, okay? They don't care about any peace agreement they make with the infidels, of course. And they're always going to try to maintain power and look for another opportunity to attack Israel again. That's not the reason why they were not celebrating the ceasefire. No, they were not celebrating. According to them, they were celebrating it. They weren't celebrating it rather because they knew that Bibi Netanyahu and Israel will not keep to their words, which is ridiculous. And by keeping to their words, what do they mean? That Israel should stand by while Hamas is attacking them. Israel should take it and not, defend themselves. Of course, what if you willingly submit yourself to die? That is the only thing that will be pleasing to Muslims. Anything other than that, according to the likes of Mahdi Hassan, is what? Any person who has a different opinion, who is like, you know what, let's actually attack these jihadists, let's attack these Islamists that are trying to attack us. Let us do something to stop them. Let us fight back. To fight back for the Mahdi Hassans of the world is to be a genocidal goal. And if someone like Mahdi Hassan is calling you a genocidal goal, then that is a badge of honor at this point. That is something you should be proud of. And what is he responding to here? He responded to somebody who said, Hamas broke it. That means Hamas broke the ceasefire agreement, attacking and killing 2 IDF soldiers, which they did. But Hamas has no leverage anymore. The hostages are free. Far from being embarrassed, Trump's strategy is vindicated. Our partners can do what it wants if Hamas won't stick to the deal. Very simple understanding and analysis of what is going on. But of course, for people like Mahdi Hassan, that is genocidal talk right there. Yes, Rashida, the congresswoman, the former congresswoman who is representing Hamas in the U.S. Senate, in U.S. Congress. And here's what she said. The genocidal apartheid regime is once again raining down bombs across Gaza and calling it a ceasefire. Can you imagine? They will never stop until there is a total arms embargo and economic sanctions. The U.S. must stop the genocide. Inshallah. Not going to happen, Rashida. Not going to happen. I don't think she's ex. I still think she's a congresswoman. Let me be sure. Is Rashida still a congresswoman? Let's see. Okay, yeah, you see. I was wrong. She's still in Congress. She's not an ex-congresswoman. She won her re-election in November of 2024, and she's still in Congress, fully supporting Hamas and doing, making sure that Hamas get their representation in U.S. Congress. So yeah, that's that about that, and yep. That is what you get. That is what you get when you resist terrorism. That's what you get when you resist terrorism. Again, I mentioned this in the last live stream that I did a poll. I mentioned that I'm trying to see a way to recap some of the things I said in the last live stream so that I will have to delete it later so everybody can just watch this one. That's what I'm trying to achieve. Okay? And in the last live stream, I pointed to this poll that I used to promote the live stream, this live stream. And the poll says, who is lying? You know, join the live stream for the full gist. And thus far, we have 835 votes. And 5% is saying Israel broke the ceasefire deal. 12% saying no Christian genocide in Nigeria is the lie. 1% is saying no enemy to the right is the lie. And 82%, the overwhelming majority, are saying the whole three statements are lies. Okay. Let me share the link to this poll so that everyone can participate. I'm putting it in the chat right now. So you can go and, you know, cast your vote. Cast your vote. Anyways, I think I need to, I can't even edit this. Anyways, so what else? The second thing we are going to be talking about, moving on from this topic, is what is happening in Nigeria. The no Christian genocide in Nigeria is what we are going to be talking about. There have been new updates, okay, on that front. There have been very interesting updates. We have this man who goes by, this happened last weekend. Okay, I wanted to talk about it on Saturday, but I was like, you know what? I've had enough live stream for 1 week. Let me save it till Monday. So this happened like on the 18th of October. That's, I think, on Saturday or on Friday. Okay, so this is the U.S. Senior Advisor for Arab and African Affairs. And his name is, I don't know why he refused to just write his name here, but I think he goes by Mossad Bolos or something. Mossad Bolos. I think that's his name. Right? I think that's his name. Mossad Bolos is his name. Mossad Bolos is his name. And he decided to chime in on the issue of the alleged genocide. Now it is alleged. At this point, people are, is it really happening? Yeah, there are many Christians that have been killed. There's this consistent attack that is targeted against Christians, and we have been seeing the systematic attacking of Christians. But the Nigerian government is doing everything within its power to counter the narrative and change the story and make us understand that there's actually no genocide of Christians in Gaza, in Nigeria, not Gaza. In Nigeria. I hope I've not been saying Gaza all this while. Anyway, the genocide of Christians in Nigeria. Before we get into this, please, guys, please smash that like button. If you're not yet, share this link. This is a new link, so share it, okay? And smash the like button. Smash it, destroy it. This is a new live stream, and we are just 34 who are like live right now. So 34 of us, please smash that like button. Destroy the like button. Both the ones in the video and the ones in the live chat. Smash the like button. And share the link to this, okay? Share that link. Let everybody know that we are live. Okay? Share the link. Share the link. Share the link. Hashtag share that link. Okay? Share that link. Let everyone know that we are live. And please like this. If you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe to the video and subscribe to the channel, not the video. Subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, send in super chats. Okay, go to okay, go to my Buy Me a Coffee page and give me money. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. I decided to type it so you guys will know. Okay, so here's the guy. Back to what I was talking about. Here is this U.S. Senior Advisor for Arab and African Affairs that goes by Mossad Bolos. And this is what he has to say. It was an honor to meet the Nigerian President Tinubu to deepen the enduring U.S.-Nigerian partnership and reaffirm our shared vision for a more secure and prosperous future. Together, we are working to expand our bilateral trade and develop a business climate that attracts U.S. investors. All right, that attracts U.S. investment, supports Nigeria's long-term growth, and strengthens regional prosperity. We discuss close coordination on counter-terrorism efforts in the Sahel, Lake Chad Basin, and the Gulf of Guinea, underscoring our joint commitment to stability and security. Our conversation also highlighted Nigeria's rich religious diversity, including its deep-rooted Christian including its deep-rooted Christian community. The US and Nigeria will continue working together to turn shared commitments into lasting progress on peace, security, and prosperity across the region. Oh my goodness! And here he is posing with President Tinubu. Yeah, they are smiling happily. Look at, they are having very serious conversation. Okay, this conversation is going to shape the future of Africa, Nigeria, West Africa, the Sahel region, the entire world. Okay, they are about to change the world. This is fantastic stuff. There is hope, ladies and gentlemen. There is hope, of course. I really want to know who this. I didn't have time, but let me see if I can do something to that effect. Let me learn something about Bolos. Who is this guy? Mossad Bolos. Here is what I could find from his Wikipedia page. Mossad Fares Bolos is a Lebanese-born American businessman and the senior advisor to the President of the United States, Donald Trump. He is the father of Michael Bolos, who is married to Trump's daughter, Tiffany, making Bolos and Trump co-fathers-in-law. He campaigned for Trump's successful presidential campaign in the 2024 election in Arab American communities, particularly in Michigan. Bolos worked as the CEO of SCOA Nigerian PLC, a trucking and heavy machinery dealership company, originally announced in December 2024 as an Arab and Middle Eastern affairs advisor. In 2025, Bolos instead originally announced in December 2024 as an Arab and Middle Eastern affairs advisor. In April 2025, Bolos was instead appointed senior advisor for Africa. Okay, and you can see that he's a businessman and he's into Lebanese politics and also U.S. politics. He has this role as a senior advisor. So this is somebody who is working in the Trump administration. So you can see that we are up to a very amazing, fantastic start. You can see that things are going very well. Okay, things are going very well. His personal life, he holds a Lebanese, Nigerian, French, and American citizenship. I mean, this is not even dual citizen. This is like 4 citizenship. He's a Nigerian citizen. Important to know. So yeah, this is a businessman who has ties in Nigeria. He has businesses in Nigeria. It is important to note all this, that he has businesses in Nigeria and he works for the United States. He's a special advisor to the president on Africa and the Middle East. Okay, that is who he is, and he worked for the Trump administration. He worked to get Trump, to people, speaking about that big tent, that Trump was trying to organize and how he won the last election by working with everybody. And by everybody, we mean Mossad Bolos. So keep that in mind. And so here is Mossad Bolos denying that there is a genocide in Nigeria. Here he is doing that. Let me pull it up.
There's a narrative coming from the US at the moment, disturbing to some people in Nigeria, and that's about...
Look at this. For those who don't know, this is being broadcast by the NTA. Okay, NTA is a news channel in Nigeria. The full meaning of NTA is Nigerian Television Authority. So this is a government, this is a media organization that is owned and run by the government. So keep that in mind when you are listening to what the question that is being asked by the journalists for the NTA. So they're asking him concerning this talk about genocide. Okay. Oh, there's this talk about genocide in the United States that is happening in Nigeria. And yes, this is not coming from, of course, the Trump White House. This is coming from Senator Ted Cruz. And he's saying this is creating concern for some people in Nigeria. Let's listen to it again. So this is not just me saying it.
There's a narrative coming from the US at the moment, disturbing to some people in Nigeria.
He said it is disturbing to some people in Nigeria. Which people are disturbed by this narrative? Exactly. Who is actually disturbed by this narrative? It will be important if the reporter kind of states that it is the government. The government of Nigeria are the ones disturbed by this narrative. Tinubu and his cronies, all of them working in the current administration and who are loyal to the current administration, whether they are in it or they are outside of it looking to curry favor with the current administration, they are the ones who are panicking. The truth is that the Nigerian government is in panic mode, as it is in serious panic mode because of this current development in the media and especially in US Congress and Senate, especially from Christian senators and Christian House of Congress members who are talking about the genocide of Christians in Nigeria and the fact that this is gaining steam and gaining momentum in Western media. They are worried about it. They are really, really worried about it. They are more worried. In fact, I feel more than just the threat that Nigeria will be placed on, will be designated a country of particular concern. There's also other possible threats that is coming from this. And the likelihood that many nations may distance themselves from the current administration and not want to work with the current administration because of the bad PR that this is going to create for them in the global stage. I think that is what the Nigerian government, that's part of. I think there are many more things that they are worried about that I don't understand, but the one that I understand is the one I just described right now, that they are really worried about their image, not the image of Nigeria. That is something they really do not care about. But the image of the administration, the current Nigerian administration, they do not want it to be tainted internationally because that is the only way they will be able to curry favor with international government organizations and other foreign leaders, essentially. And especially with the United States, especially with Donald Trump. Donald Trump 2.0 is something to be worried about. And these leaders, these Nigerian leaders understand that and they are worried about that.
And that's about religious persecution. That is not the position of the government, certainly. It's that of the Senator Cruz, I guess. And what is the position of U.S. governments regarding this?
This is certainly unfortunate, of course. Any incident, any loss of life is absolutely unfortunate. Those who know the terrain well know that terrorism has no color and no religion and
You know, it's one thing if the lie is coming from it's one thing if the lie is coming from maybe somebody from who is in the this is let's say this is somebody who is from Europe, Western Europe, or somebody who has lived all his life in America, who has no ties to any area in the world that is suffering the heavy hand of Islamic terrorism. If this is coming from such a person, it's easier to understand, right? I'll be like, okay, I get it, I understand this, right? But no, this is coming from somebody who is a Lebanese American. This is somebody who is a citizen of Lebanon. Okay? This is somebody who is a citizen of Lebanon, and he's saying that anybody who is familiar with the terrain knows that terrorism knows no religion. As if there is no such thing as Islamic terrorism. As if he has not heard of ISIS before in his life. This is how you know that somebody is lying. When they make this kind of statements, you just know this person is lying. He's just lying. As if ISIS was not targeting religious minorities in Syria and Iraq. As if that's not what they were doing during the heydays of their movement. As if they were not targeting Yazidis, targeting Christians, targeting Shias, targeting every religious minority they could lay their hands on. As if that's not what the movement was about. As if this is not terrorism and this is not what terrorism does. But here he is saying that terrorism knows no religion. All kinds of terrorism. This is a very broad blanket statement that is obviously false. Terrorism knows no religion. Really?
no tribe. People of all religions and all tribes are dying as a result of terrorist acts. But it's very unfortunate. We even know that Boko Haram and ISIS.
And here's the funny part about that. He said we know that for a fact, blah blah blah. With with that. Anyways. Terrorists will go to a place they know is a Christian majority area and will kill the Christians here. And these people will tell us that it happened because that place just so happens to be Christian majority. It's not really that they attacked that place because they are Christians here. It just so happened that that place is Christian. Even when they're attacking places, states in Nigeria that are Christian majority, they specifically target places within the Christian majority state that has a major. I mean, even when they're attacking places in Nigeria that are Muslim majority, even when they are doing that, like they're attacking Muslim states, where an overwhelming majority of people living in that state in Nigeria are Muslims, they will go to the Christian areas of that state. When they're attacking Borno states, they will go to the Christian area, Chibok, where those girls were kidnapped. You know the kidnapping of the Chibok girls. Chibok is a Christian town. It's a Christian town in Muslim-dominated Borno state. That is how they operate. When they attack Kaduna, they will go to Southern Kaduna. Southern Kaduna is Christian majority. That is where they will target their attacks. When they go to Jos, they will go to Bokos, where they have a vibrant Christian population. It is specifically targeting Christians. Yes, there are instances where Muslims are caught up in this, but their major primary targets are not Muslims. And many of the Muslims get killed because they oppose them. Yes, there are Muslims who oppose them, but they are in the minority. These terrorists have Muslims who oppose them, but the Muslims opposing them are in the minority. And when they encounter those Muslims, they kill them because they consider them to be hypocrites. All of these are religiously motivated. And the primary target is religious minorities. This is a well-known fact. The Hamas right now is rounding up Gazans and killing them. Okay, these are Gazans, these are Muslims. That does not negate the fact that the sole purpose of Hamas is to target and kill Jews. On October 7, they killed Christians. On October 7, they killed Africans. There were Africans that were killed. There were Taiwanese that were killed. There were people from all over the world that were killed on October 7. That does not mean that the October 7 attack was not an attack on Jews. This is something that anybody with a brain can understand. But this lie is something that they have to keep repeating over and over and over again. And here is somebody who has the ears of President Trump lying. And I believe that the reason why he's lying is because of the business ties that he has with the current Nigerian administration. He has businesses in Nigeria. He has a business interest in Nigeria, something that can be affected if he goes against the current administration. And again, for all the annoying things that are about to come out from this man's mouth, one thing that at least this demonstrates is that those that are calling out, especially Senator Ted Cruz and the likes, and even Mike Arnold, people who are calling out this genocide that is going on in Nigeria are not doing it because they are working for the CIA. Here is somebody who has the ears of Donald Trump, an official in the current administration in the White House right now, saying something that is in line with what the Nigerian administration is saying. So who is CIA running at this point? Who are they deceiving at this point? Who are they trying to manipulate at this point? If there's somebody who is CIA, although of course this guy is not, but if there's somebody who you are going to accuse of being CIA, is this guy. This is somebody who is working for the current administration. They're
killing more Muslims than Christians.
The lie, they are killing more Muslims than Christians. Where are the figures? Why? What are you citing to back up this claim? This is the funny thing. He said, these people are killing more Muslims than Christians. Okay, what are you using to back up the claim? What is this based on? We have reports, okay, from this group, I've forgotten what they call it, Inter-Society Group in Nigeria, that gave us a breakdown of the number of people that have been killed and showed that Christians are more than the Muslims that have been killed in Nigeria. In fact, the number is disproportionate. There are many more Christians that have been killed than Muslims, according to the interstate report. This is what we are basing our claim on, amongst other things. Not just the sheer number of Muslims to Christians, but what these terrorists themselves have been saying and how they've been operating. That's what we are basing our claim on, that this is a Christian genocide. You say more Muslims have been killed than Christians. Based on what? Based on what? What findings? What data set are you basing this on?
So people are suffering from all sorts of backgrounds. This is not specifically targeted about one group or the other. However, any loss.
This is very ridiculous, because when when Boko Haram stops a bus, I've said this many times, but it is true. When Boko Haram stops a bus, tells all the passengers in the bus to come down, says if you are a Christian, go to the left. If you are a Muslim, come to the right. And then in the bus, there happen to be 4 Christians in the bus. And those 4 Christians are taken out. And then the rest of the travelers are allowed to continue traveling. And then Boko Haram makes a video, right? They make a video. And in the video, what they are saying essentially is, look, we are killing Christians. And then they slaughter these Christians in front on video and then post it on social media for the world to see. When Boko Haram does that, that is clear instance of them targeting Christians. When Boko Haram and all Fulani headsmen or bandits or whatever you want to call them, when these terrorists go to a Christian community and kidnap the pastor and ask for ransom, and they keep kidnapping pastors and asking for ransom, when they target churches and burn them down, this is specific attacks on Christians because they are Christians. When Boko Haram started and they were attacking church buildings in Abuja, in Kaduna, in Borno State, when they were attacking church buildings and burning them to the ground, that was specifically targeted towards Christians. Lai Mohammed once said that Boko Haram is specifically targeted. This is the former Minister of Information. Let me put that up. Let me pull that clip up so I can show you what I'm saying. I'm looking for the report. I think I found it. Sorry, just give me a second. This is not one of the things that I wanted to share, but I think it's important to share just to buttress my point. Here it is. This is Lai Mohammed. Here he is in this news headline. This is from 2020. It said Nigerian government explains. Nigerian government was giving us explanation for why Boko Haram is targeting Christians. So they were not denying then that Boko Haram was actually targeting Christians. They were not denying it because they were. He said the Nigerian government has explained why it thinks terror group Boko Haram targets Christians across the country during its deadly raids. Speaking at a press briefing on Thursday in Abuja, Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, said the terrorists were targeting Christians and their communities in order to trigger religious war in Nigeria. They were given an explanation back then for why Boko Haram was doing what they were doing. And what was the explanation they were given? The explanation was, hey, these people are doing it because they want to trigger a religious war, but they did not deny. The point I'm making is they did not deny that this was a targeted attack. These attacks by Boko Haram were targeted, and they were targeted at Christians. They did not deny it. And this was back in 2020, and now in 2025, we have this guy from the US telling us oh, you see, there is nothing to show that this is being targeted at Christians. There is nothing to indicate that this is being targeted at Christians. And I hope the Trump administration are aware of this, because let me just show us this. I wasn't planning to show us any of this, but I think it's important that we see this. I want to point, this is show you from the Trump administration, where they were in the past, especially where Donald Trump in particular was in the past, condemning the attacks on Christians. And he was doing so right in front of Buhari, the former president of Nigeria. That was when he during his first term, where he placed Nigeria, he designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Under Trump's first term, Nigeria was placed as a country of particular concern. And when he did so, he admitted that there was a genocide of Christians. In fact, he was one of the first world leaders in the West to recognize that, yes, Christians are being targeted. Christians are being targeted in Nigeria. So, except the Trump administration, I've also joined the current Nigerian administration to pretend like this is not a reality that they recognized not too long ago. Here it is. This is the Trump administration.
Well, President Trump standing up for Christians in a meeting with the Nigerian president. Well, President Trump standing up for Christians in a meeting with the Nigerian president.
We're deeply concerned by religious violence in Nigeria, including the burning of churches and the killing and persecution of Christians. We encourage Nigeria to do everything in their power to immediately secure the affected communities and to protect innocent civilians of all faiths.
The killings of Christians, Christian persecution getting virtually no coverage on the mainstream media. And here to discuss this, co-host of the Christian Broadcasting Network's Faith Nation, David Brody. And
so, yeah, this is during Trump's first term. This is during Trump's first term, and he was recognizing, look, there is indeed the genocide of Christians in Nigeria. And here he is, standing next to...
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be with President Buhari of Nigeria. We have many things that we do together, as you know, probably especially on terrorism and terrorism related. We also have a very big trade deal that we're working on for military equipment, helicopters, and the like. We have met before. We have developed a great relationship, and we look forward to our discussion today. Very important, but again, especially as it relates to terrorism. And that's terrorism here and terrorism all over the world. It's Mr. President, thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for a great honor. I thank Mr. President. We ask for united institutions in the northeast of the United of terrorism, and we are very grateful.
Anyway, there's that. So let's go back to listening to Mossad Bolos.
Of life is too many. One is too many, and we should work together in partnership to put an end to this. With regards to, there are other incidents that happen to be in the Middle Belt, for example, where farmers are located. Most of these farmers happen to be Christian, and some herdsmen are.
Yeah, it just so happened. Like the fact that they are Christians is not an important thing to go. It just so happened. It's by sheer coincidence that these farmers are Christians and these herders are Muslims. It's sheer coincidence, okay? None of this have to do with who the attacker... None of this have to do with why the attackers attacked and why those who are attacked, okay? The religion is just sheer coincidence. It just so happens. It doesn't matter if the herders were Christians and the farmers were Muslims, herders in quotes, if they are Christians and the farmers are Muslims, the attack will still happen nonetheless. It's just, he should have mentioned climate change while he was at it. Quote the entire Al Jazeera article while he's at it, to let us know that he's fully drenched in Nigerian government propaganda. This is You know, Mossad Bolos is the U.S. extension of the Nigerian government. You know, just like how you have Rashida Tlaib as the representative of Hamas. This is Nigeria's representative in Trump's White House, essentially. This guy works for the Nigerian government.
Going through, and they have these incidents. But we definitely, it's not something that we can say is specifically targeted about a specific group. However, we must work together to put an end to this. The Nigerian government and the President Tinubu's administration have recently taken additional measures and put more resources in those areas. And we've seen some improvements.
You've seen some improvement. You've seen, what improvement have you seen? 7,000 Christians have been killed this year. Is that the improvement? 7,000 Christians, that's 35 Christians every day have been killed. See, that's from January to August. We are not even counting September and October, which we've seen recent attacks in those 2 months alone. Okay? And that is improvement, according to this very good... Wow.
Recent weeks, we appreciate those measures, and we definitely look forward to more of those, and we look forward to ending these sorts of acts.
My brother, let me tell you what you look forward to. You look forward to maintaining the status quo as long as it is in the best interest of whatever interest you have in this country. And that interest, I think, is just business interest. You want to secure your business interest and whatever business agreement you have in Nigeria or business enterprise you have in Nigeria, that you don't want to be threatened by the current administration. That is what this is about, okay? Someone like you, with what we know about you, you have a conflict of interest, okay? You are not driven by the truth at this point. You are driven with protecting your personal interest. And it's unfortunate. It is really, really unfortunate that you work for Trump's White House. You see, that's the problem about having this big umbrella where everybody is included. Okay, this is what happened. You end up including people like Mossad Bolos, who is clearly in it for his own personal gain, has no political principle, has no conscience. This is somebody who I'm very sure has not visited IDP camps in Nigeria. He has not gone around the country to see what is going on. He knows nothing, next to nothing, other than what the government have told him and what they've told him to say, what they've told him to tell Trump. And it's quite unfortunate, especially when you consider the fact that this is somebody whose son is married to Donald Trump's daughter. So it's more than just, oh, he's working for the administration. This is somebody who has personal relationship with the current administration. And this is why, honestly, this is why I do not put my trust in what Trump will do or what Trump can do. I do not put my trust in that. Because there are so many conflicts of interest going on in Trump's White House. There are so many groups, so many entities at work in Trump's White House. The likelihood that someone like this does not wield serious influence in Trump's White House is I don't even know if there's anything that, if it's possible. I don't think it is even possible. This person has the ear of, I believe, it is my belief, personal belief, because of the personal relationship he has with Trump. It is my personal belief that this person has more influence in Trump's White House than Ted Cruz. That is the reality. Thus far, this has been mainstream news for how many weeks now? And has Donald Trump or any person in the Trump administration said anything about it? No. This has been reported on Fox News. This has been reported on so many, even alternate news media that Trump pays attention to. It has been there. It has been reported over and over again. Senator Ted Cruz is talking about it every other day. This is something that everyone in the West is waking up to. You have people on even there have been news that, you know, people walking around or working in Keir Starmer's administration are pressuring him to talk about it. To talk about the genocide of Christians in Nigeria. But have we had anything from Trump's White House? Now, this is not me, of course, trying to say, you know what, I don't put any trust in Trump, or of course, I'm not an American, I'm not, MAGA, I'm not any of that. I'm just saying, unless something else happens, I have every reason to believe that this guy has huge influence in Trump's administration. And that there is likelihood that Trump may not do anything about this because of this guy. If he does, again, miracles happen. So I'm open to something else happening. I'm open to being proven wrong by this current U.S. administration. But I doubt that they will prove me wrong. You know. So for Nigerians that are hoping that Trump will do something, I doubt that he will. This is somebody who has it's not just political relationship. This person doesn't just have political relationship with Trump's White House. This person has personal relationship. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the peace agreement that is going on right now in the Middle East. Who is brokering that peace agreement? Who is Jared Kushner? Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of Donald Trump. So, you know.
Wherever they come from. And we know that Nigeria is a melting pot. Nigeria is...
Look at what he said. Nigeria is a melting pot. What is this? What is this? Is this the United States? Is this a Western country? Is this a talk about multiculturalism? Is this something that you'll be hearing from Trump's White House? Well, when it has to do with Africa and the Middle East, you might hear something like this.
Is a country in which all sorts of religious groups and other groups, ethnic and tribal and other groups are living together in harmony for centuries. And Nigerian population is split 50-50 probably between Christians and Muslims. So this has never been a serious religious issue and should not be. But we appreciate what President Tinubu has done, and we shall continue to work together to make sure it's taken care of.
All right. There you have it. There you have it from the Nigerian Television Authority. That's an interview from Mossad Bolos, U.S. Special Advisor, Trump's Special Advisor on Africa and Arab nations. There you have it. There you have it, guys. So interesting. You know what? I'm unfazed by any of this. You know what? I am not, because I'm not fazed by it because, I mean, here is something that, here is a compilation from Mike Arnold. So I don't know how to pronounce that last name.
What is the position of...
Here is a compilation that he did. And I want you to just look at this.
What is the position of U.S. government regarding this?
He said, why did the U.S. envoy, northern imams, and Tinubu spokesman all use the same talking point to deny Nigeria's genocide? So he's saying there seems to be, these people seem to be saying the same thing. They are all using the same talking point. Why is that the case?
Criminality is a criminality. It has no bound, it has no color, it has no religion.
He said here is Khalid Aliyu Jamiatu Nasri Allah on October 13, 2025. And here is what he is saying. And here he is denying the Christian persecution and defending Sharia.
Terrorism has no color and no religion and no tribe.
And he's saying, you can see that Mossad Bolos is saying the same thing that this Muslim professor was saying.
We can never get it right until we link it to any religious group.
And here this person is saying, now you can never get it right. You can never get it right in Nigeria until you stop linking terrorism to religious groups. Okay.
It's not about religion.
And here you have Issa Pantami. You know, I don't know if you guys are familiar. If you guys have been listening to my channel, you know what I have to say about Issa Pantami, the guy who in the past have praised Bin Laden. There's somebody who in the past have praised Bin Laden and has been in support of Islamic terrorism in the past while he was an imam. And here he is saying, you know,
this has never been a serious religious issue.
And here is Mossad Bolos repeating the same thing that the likes of Issa Pantami is saying.
And should not be.
You know, we're not very good at keeping...
in fact, you know, it is even interesting. When this man, Mossad Bolos, is quoting the same thing that you hear from the likes of Reno or Mokri, the liar and clown of Nigeria.
Records, but it's quite possible that right now even more Muslims are being killed than Christians.
We even know that Boko Haram and ISIS are killing more Muslims than Christians.
Based on what? Based on rain or mockery. So you see that he is repeating the talking points of the current administration. That is essentially what he is doing.
These are areas where there have been ethnic clashes.
Yeah, it is ethnic clashes.
Herders and farmers.
It's just ethnic clashes between...
There are other incidents that happen to be in the Middle Belt, for example, where farmers are located. Most of these farmers happen to be Christian, and some herdsmen are going through, and they have these incidents.
This incidents of people being killed.
I'm sorry to tell you that this security challenge.
And while he was talking, his phone rang. And what was his ringtone? The Muslim call to prayer. Isn't that interesting? That is what you get from Nigeria. Why they are doing all these lies? Here's another one that they are pushing. I mean, these people are really pushing so many lies at this point. So many lies. Like, the lies that they are pushing is incredible. Give me a second. The lies these people are pushing right now is really, really incredible. Incredible lies. Here is one of them. What was I? Here is this one from Cable TV. Cable TV is a news outlet in Nigeria. One of the news outlets that work for the current administration. And here is their new claim. Inside, social media amplifiers of Christian genocide claim in Nigeria affiliated with IPOB, that's the Independent People of Biafra. Certain echo chambers on social media have played significant roles in amplifying claims of a Christian genocide in Nigeria. The cable news can report. Since Boko Haram's insurgency began in 2009, allegations of a Christian genocide in Nigeria have periodically surfaced. Why such narratives have persisted over the years, their intensity has fluctuated, fading briefly after last year before gaining momentum in 2025. Data from X showed that the online conversation referencing the Christian genocide narrative below 5,000 posts from March to July rose to nearly 10,000 between July and August, and then recorded a double surge in October, peaking to at around 20,000 posts, the highest level in years. Between January 1st and October 1st, the period covered by the investigation, there were approximately 1,655 mentions of the topic on X, an average of about 575 posts per day. In the same period, the posts reached an estimated 2.83 billion people, a figure more than 12 times Nigeria's population of roughly 230 million. And okay, what's the point of this? What has any of this to do? How does any of this prove that this is being coordinated by IPOB? We don't know. How is this an IPOB linked stuff? We don't know. You run with the headline. Social media amplifiers of Christian genocide claim in Nigeria affiliated with IPOB. Nothing. You know, and just so you guys can remember, the first time they told us that this was being done by the pro-Israel campaign. It's the pro-Israel campaign that is making this popular. When that did not work, they said, oh, it is just, it's just Americans that are talking about it because they want to infiltrate Nigeria. It's the CIA. When that did not work, now it is IPOB, the Independent People of Biafra. They are the ones trying to push this narrative. And I'm like, come on. I don't care. First of all, I know all these are lies. Second of all, I don't care if it's being pushed by whoever it is being pushed by. Okay? The important question is what is being said true? Is what is being said true? All this, it's being pushed by this, it's being pushed by this. These are many efforts that is being put in by the current administration to distract from the reality of what is happening. They will blame IPOB, they will blame the CIA, they will blame the pro-Israel groups on social media. They will blame every person for what is happening, and they will not be able to demonstrate that these people are lying. There is no way to demonstrate that these people are lying, so you try to discredit them. And when that does not work, you say, many claims have been used just to disregard what is happening. My question is, when people say Boko Haram is targeting Muslims more than Christians, for example, which is one of the things they use to kind of discredit the claim that there is a Christian genocide in Nigeria. When they say that they're like, Muslims are being killed more than Christians by Boko Haram. First of all, majority of the attacks and majority of the killings in Nigeria and in the Middle Belt are not even being carried out by Boko Haram. That's one. First of all, it is being carried out by Fulani headers, the so-called headers that happen to be Muslims, and the community they are attacking that happen to be Christians. Yeah, that's majority of the killings, you dummies. It's not the majority of the killings are not even happening by Boko Haram and ISWAP. They are happening in the hands of Fulani headsmen. You know those headers, those bandits that just miraculously, by some sheer luck, happen to be Christians. I mean Muslims rather. Yeah, those are the ones that are carrying out the attacks. And they are victims that just by sheer luck and sheer coincidence, in fact, by the most unexplainable miracle, just happen to be Christians. Yeah, those are people that are being attacked, and those are majority of the victims of these terrorist attacks that we are talking about. Not even Boko Haram. That's one. Second, the Boko Haram attacks are targeted at Christians. Most of the victims of Boko Haram are Christians. Their main target, their main focus is to kill Christians in their pathway to establishing a caliphate in Nigeria. Something that many people in this current administration in Nigeria have acknowledged. Here is a news report from a year ago showing that over 151 villages are being occupied. Talk about occupation. You know, they like to point at Israel, but, you know, ignore when Muslims are doing it. Over 151 villages are being occupied by armed headers, of course, in Plateau State, Nigeria. Okay, it's just communal clashes, ladies and gentlemen. It's just communal clashes that is leading to the displacement of people. See, headers have seized and renamed 102 Plateau communities. They have seized and renamed 102 Plateau communities. Let's you know, just so that some people can hear from the horse's mouth. The people that are suffering these things, not some white man that come from the United States that is Tiffany Trump's father-in-law, telling us that there is no genocide in Nigeria because the current administration have given him talking points.
When it comes to Fulani issues, the security of this nation, they turn their face away.
Let's start again.
When it comes to Fulani issues, the security of this nation, they turn their face away. But when it comes to us, with their 2 eyes, with their whole ammunition, tanks, they will invade our village.
That's from people who are living it, okay? Not from, like I said, not from somebody who has not even been to any IDP camp.
So I am Reverend Yakubu Muton. I am a pastor with the Church of Christ in Nations. But this is my village. This is Mayanga. Mayanga is in Bokos local government, Plateau State of Nigeria. What really happened here is not only in this village that we're affected by this crisis. We're affected by more than 11 villages, which Mayanga happens to be one. And in these villages, it is the same method of attack that was conducted. It's the killing, the maiming of people, slaughtering them, and burning of their houses and their foodstuffs and properties. So by now, by the record we have already collected, we have over 150 people that are killed in one day. That is on the 24th of December. That is, the Christmas was just not a Christmas to us, like to celebrate. It was a mourning Christmas because of what happened to us. As you could see, I'm standing here. This is my house in my village, and I lost everything that was in the house, both food stuff, clothing, and whatever. It was a furnished house, but it is burnt. And even the church that is by my side was burnt, and the pastorium is burnt. Everything about us here in this village is confused. As you could see, that everything is destroyed. But we thank God that some of us are alive. And at the cost of this, like me now, I lost 7 of my brothers at the cost of this crisis that happened. Thank you.
That's from the horse's mouth, as you can see. As you can see. Okay, this is somebody who is speaking Hausa, and the translation is there, but I'll read it out for us. He said, my name is Pastor Adamu Musa.
Musa, ni ba Fulatani ne.
I am a Fulani man.
Aiki ne ya kawo ni a nan.
I came here on a pastoral mission.
Kuma a cikin wannan aiki.
And in the course, this is somebody who is a Fulani, who is also a Christian. Okay? So he's a Fulani and he's a Fulani Christian, and he came to this community on a pastoral mission.
Sai ya kasance.
And it turns out
da cewa na faɗi a hannu.
That I became a victim of Fulani attack.
Fulani sun zo sun kawo hari. Sun kawo ma.
They attacked Christians in Miyango.
Mutane masu bi a Miyango. Yasa ina.
I was riding a motorcycle.
Kan mashin abun ya zo ya faru da ni, sun harbe ni, ban son hawa ba, ban.
They ambushed and shot me.
Son sauka ba. Amma na gode wa Allah.
But I thank God.
Da yake cewa.
I am a believer.
Ni mai bi ne. Kuma na son.
And I know Jesus.
Ubangiji. Addu'a na shine Ubangiji.
My prayer is for God to change them.
Allah ya sa su gane. Kanan abu na biyu.
The second thing I want Christians
da nake so mutane su sani masu bi
to know.
Wajibi ne mu tashi
we must rise up
domin mu ceci kanmu da kanmu.
To protect ourselves.
Mun sani Ubangiji.
We know God is with us.
Na tare da mu. Domin na ɗaya ba mu taɓa tsokana.
We've never offended the Fulani.
An Fulani ba. Akalla na kai shekara na go.
I've stayed in Miyango for over 17 years.
Ina Miyango la. Ban taɓa gani inda.
I've never seen where they are attacked. That's where Fulanis are attacked.
Ka tsokane su ba. Su ne suna zuwa.
They are always. Sorry. They are. I've never seen where.
Su ne suna.
They are always the ones. They are the ones who always come to cut down our crops. They kill us.
Before last year,
2 years ago, they burnt my house.
This year,
and this year they shot me. I pray God give them understanding. We have no bad intentions towards them. But it's important to know we don't have security protection. Because soldiers are of no use to us. Now here is something that is important. If this is an ethnic clash, it's just Fulani headers and residents of Bokos who happen to be non-Fulanis, I guess. Right? Why is it that the Fulani headers, so-called, we are attacking a Fulani that happened to be Christian? If this was not an attack that is being, if they are not precisely targeting Christians, why did they even attack a Fulani that happened to be Christian? Do you see now that this is not really ethnic, this is religious? Let's hear from more.
The house of the pastor was also burned down.
This is from another attack in Plateau State.
Every day we bury people. We are not ordained for funeral services.
The pastor is saying that every day they bury people, that he was not ordained as a pastor to conduct funeral services.
We are ordained to preach the good news of Jesus Christ. But burial has taken, in fact, the place of that one now.
He said he was ordained to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, but now it seems like all he's doing is conducting burial services.
So we want to stand here and condemn this that happens. Every time when it happens, they say unknown gunmen. Every time they will say unidentified gunmen. Even this one that is very clear, the attack was carried out by the Fulani headsmen. And you will hear them saying now that unknown gunmen is not longer unknown. And this thing is not just happening here on the plateau.
It's so annoying. Even where these gunmen will attack, these bandits, like they are called, or headers will attack, occupy a community, rename the community, take control of that community, you still have official reports saying these are unknown individuals. We don't even know who they are. We don't even know what they want. We don't even know why they are doing what they are doing. And let's just chalk it up to climate change. You know these people. We know where they are. We know where you can find them. You will not go there to go and interview them or even find out what is happening there. You will not even go to people in the community to investigate and come and say, okay, this is what is being said in the community. None of that. No, can we really know what is going on? We don't really know. This is not targeted at Christians. Even when people from the community are like, yeah, they are targeting us.
There is that saying in psychology, when one person has problem with many, it means it is that person that has the problem.
Here's from another pastor. This is from a missionary.
Missionary, and I live in Roof. Roof is close to Bwai, and the surrounding villages around. They are within my district. And actually what happened is that there was a serious attack from the Fulani, let me put it that way, who came in the night and stormed the village called Kubat, where over 30 people, men and women, young and children, were killed. And as of yesterday, around Murisht, Jwak, and other villages around. Yesterday, there was a serious attack, even on our way going there to see all that was happening. In fact, we were trying to reach to Kubat, where they killed 30 people. In fact, the Fulanis raised ambush on us. We had to be scrolling on the ground under the flying bullets, and God in his own way, we were all safe. And the villages around, most villages, virtually every houses were set ablaze. And all their grains were all burned. Houses were burned, properties were destroyed. There was looting. We saw them. We even saw the machineries, the attackers in their hundreds, their thousands, you know, and they were open fire, exchanging fire with the military that were around. And this morning, we were trying to bury 29 people that were killed in Funzai, and immediately after we finished, we wanted to proceed to Kubon, the Kubat, where they were doing another burial. And there was a security alert. The security that were around said, no, we can't go there. And they were asking people to leave. And we were running. Right now, men and women, you can see the police, they are also getting out of the place. You know, the situation is bad. The situation is terrible. I just don't know. Looking at the attack, one will say, this is a well planting, it's a long planting, well coordinated, and they have achieved.
There you have another one. As you can see, this is 100% in line with what we have heard from Mossad Bolos. This is clear indication that this has nothing to do. This is not a targeted, coordinated attack. As you can see him say, right? It's not a targeted, coordinated attack against Christians, where their buildings are being burnt to ashes, their churches destroyed, their grains destroyed, they are chased out of their communities. Even the security agencies that are supposed to protect them are running away from the communities that are being attacked and telling people to run for their dear lives. Even while after they are done burying their loved ones, they still have to be on the run. This is what is happening. You know, here is
A cow was touched, not at all in Hypan.
This person is just explaining that this from what he said, because the kind of cut, the clip kind of cut. And what he's explaining here is from the beginning is you will not hear in this community that a header was attacked or his cow was killed or anything like that. That none of this has happened. These people were never attacked. This is not like a reprisal attack, or this is not a exchange of fire between two communities. You will never hear that we attacked any of them or we tried to kill any of them. You will never hear anything like that.
In a meeting we held yesterday, we made it known to the security that we have never in any way attacked the Fulanis. Not that we don't have blood in our veins. This is our land, we have nowhere to go. But on daily basis, yesterday there was burial of 2 in Wedang. 2 again were killed in Fan that are about to be buried. Now 11 are here. Children, 5 children among 11 people killed. And then somebody is misleading the world that it's the headers Hamas clash. May the fire of God consume people with such philosophies.
He said, may the fire of the Lord consume people who are saying those things. People who are lying about what is happening.
This is act of terrorism and genocide in this part of the world. Answer. We want the world to know that as far as we are concerned, we will not compromise, we will not give our land, and we will stand to defend our land to any length. And we are calling on governments, both the federal, the state, and the local government, to do the needful. We want to see justice. When there is no justice, the people will revolt. And if the people revolt, nobody should draw our attention.
All right, so there is that. I don't want to listen. I don't want to play everything when it has to do with that. I want to play one more clip, or maybe 2 more clips, or a few more clips. Here is this one. This one is one that is is a touching one, because this person is a blind man and he's giving account of what happened and how his village was attacked.
It was around to 8. My wife just said she want to go and sleep. She was watching film in the neighboring room.
So the wife was visiting their neighbor, they were watching TV in the neighbor's house around 9.
Before I know, my wife was saying she want to go and sleep. I was staying outside while then they went there and started sleeping. I heard a gunshot. Since I can't see, I just touched the door there and I entered, calling my people to come in because that door is a hard door. It's not like the zinking door we are having in our room. She responded to me, but for her to come in, the Fulani people have covered them and they have killed them now. They are my eye. Everywhere I'm going, that woman will hold me. If I want to send, I will send my kids to go and come back. I'm a student with the University of Jos. About going to school, you will see them crying, they want to go with me. Coming back, they will rejoice seeing their father, but now they are no more.
The Fulani, this man is a blind man, and the Fulani headers killed his wife and his children. Now, blind man without any family members.
Let me tell the JFM and the Reading FM, what is your work? Is the government hearing us? Especially the Irigwe people, is the government listening to us? We've been hearing this menace been occurring for how many years? I lost my elder brother through crisis. I lost my uncle through crisis. Today, my wife, my 2 kids are no more.
And there is that. You know, sometimes when people are lying about stuff like this, I wonder if they realize that they are like people's lives. That you are lying about a real for the people who experience this thing. This is not a game. It is real. Like, it is real for them. It is really happening. This is people's life. People's life are being destroyed by these headers. These attacks are real. It involves real life, like real human lives. It's not a toy. It's not a game. It's people's lives we are talking about. It's people's lives we are talking about. It's people's lives that are being affected. It's people's lives that are going. Okay, when these headers come and they attack, it's lives that are lost. It's human beings that are being buried weekly. This is not just numbers, okay? We are not just seeing numbers. It's not just 33, 45, 99, 23, or 70,000, whatever the numbers are. These are real people. That's somebody's father. That's somebody's child. That's somebody's wife. That's somebody's daughter. That's somebody's mother that is being killed. All of these are happening, and it's real. You are downplaying it. You are making it look like, oh, well, all lives matter, but we should not even try to make this about religion. We should not really say the truth about what is happening. Saying the truth will not help solve the matter. That's essentially what we are being told in this country. Acknowledging what is actually happening will not help. To lie about it is the way forward. That is what we are being told by Muslim leaders. That's what we are being told by the current administration. That's what now we are being told by a special advisor to Trump's White House on Africa and you know, the Arab nations, essentially. And this is a coordinated propaganda. Like, here is this imam from the north who probably knows that there is probably what will I call it? A target on his back right now because of what he said. Now you can see from his name that this is not a Christian. This is a Muslim. His name is Sheikh Umar Adam Kosa. And here is what he had to say about a recent meeting that they held. All the imams and Muslim religious leaders, they had a meeting and they were given a message to say to the media. All of them were given a message to say to the media. And here's what that message is. He said, I was invited to a meeting. What is surprising he said it was a meeting of those saddled with the responsibility of handling security. So security operatives, and government officials. These are people who are saddled with the responsibility of handling the security issue in Nigeria. But they invited us. They invited us young clerics, young Muslim clerics. Those whose voices are influential when they speak. That means Muslim clerics and religious leaders who have influence in their communities and influence in the nation. He said we are many that we are gathered. So many Muslim clerics all over the northern part of the country and the middle belt, of course. Many Muslim clerics, they were gathered. It was a large gathering. And it happened in a state. He didn't want to mention the particular state, but he said this happened in a state in this country, that's in Nigeria. And he said what they were asking us to do, what they wanted us to do is we should come out and tell the world that these Fulanis, these terrorists in the forest, the reason they pick up arms is because they are being oppressed. So he said that they were being told in this huge meeting that they should say to the world that these terrorists, these Fulanis, the reason why they are attacking. This is another new message that they were being given. So when you see multiple propaganda being spewed out by the Nigerian administration, coming up with different lies. This is one of the lies that they were telling clerics, Muslim clerics, to tell the world that the reason why the Fulanis are picking up arms and attacking villages and raping women and burning buildings and churches and all whatnot and just causing serious insecurity, kidnapping pastors and all whatnot, that the reason they were doing that, and they were being told to say this, they were being told to say this, that the reason why this is happening is because these Fulanis are being oppressed. That it is oppression that is causing it. Therefore, they should not be blamed as much. So, these clergies, we are being told to tell the world that these terrorists are attacking communities because they are being oppressed, and as such should not be blamed. So the Fulanis should not be blamed. That is the message that they are telling clergies to tell the world. That they are being oppressed. They are being oppressed, and that's why they pick up arms. That's the first point. That's the first thing they are being told to say. We should orient the society on that. That is the message that they are telling these clergies to tell the society, to tell everyone in their society, that this is what should be, this is the talking point, and this is what they should say. Secondly, let's keep calling on the government that these Fulanis should not be fought. Let's listen to that again. That they should be called and made peace with. That the government should not fight the Fulanis. That's the talking point that they have been given. To tell the government not to fight the Fulanis, not to use, security apparatus to restrain them, to fight against them and make sure they stop. Rather, they should be called for peace agreement with these Fulanis because they are oppressed, of course. Peace should be made with the Fulanis and their leaders. The leaders of those people, those killing people. That is the leaders of the Fulani headers. So they have leaders. They have heads of this terror attack, these terror groups. The Nigerian government should not fight them, but should make peace with them and with their leaders. That is what these clergies, these Muslim clergies, are being told to say and to advocate for. And that their leaders should be given appointments, political appointments in the government. And but Mossad Bolos wants us to know that this is not a serious issue. Of course, this is nothing. There's nothing to see here. It's just Ted Cruz running his mouth. This is just Ted Cruz running his mouth, and it makes you wonder what's going to become of this. There is called. You have an editorial piece in the New York Post saying President Trump needs to call out the deadly persecution of Nigerian Christians. Do you think that is going to happen? Do you think that is going to happen? A group of prominent U.S. Christian leaders are appealing to President Trump to again call out the egregious persecution of Christians in Nigeria that has seen 7+ massacres in just the first 7 months of this year. Is that going to yield anything? Who knows? Let's see. Let me not be one of those who's like, I don't believe in this administration anymore. Let's see. Let's see. On the bright side, we have Congressman Riley Moore on Fox News.
Junior Congressman Riley Moore joins us now. Congressman, you're urging Secretary of State Rubio to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Okay. What do you really want Trump to do about this?
Well, what we want is for the killings to stop, and it's a systematic campaign of persecution by Islamic terrorist organizations, not just Boko Haram, but IS West Africa, and also this Fulani tribe that lives in that middle band that has been just discriminately targeting Christians and killing them. You saw the numbers that you just put up there. I mean, they are absolutely horrific. Making this a country of particular concern will limit and restrict their security assistance programs with the United States. So we have been training and equipping the Nigerians in the hope that they were going to stop Boko Haram and eliminate them from Nigeria. Well, that's not happening. And I think there is a question of there is collusion in between the current Islamic government in Nigeria and these terrorist organizations that are killing Christians en masse. So what we want is for President Trump to put that designation back into place.
Well, what I don't understand is why there's not more publicity in the United States for what's going on in Nigeria. When you're killing thousands of Christians because they are Christians and they're being killed by Islamic terrorists, I think that's major news here, and I can't understand why it's not.
Well, there are many reasons for why it is not. Of course, there's the pro-Palestine side that is just making noise every day, wanting to get all the attention because, of course, they are the ones that deserve it more than any other person or any other group, even though there's actually no genocide in Gaza. Where there's an actual genocide, everybody is looking away. But let's be hopeful, let's be hopeful. Right, let's be hopeful. And then we have Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is still, We're
also going to talk about a tragedy that has been unfolding in recent years in the country of Nigeria, where more than 50,000 Christians have been killed. The mass murder of Christians in Nigeria has been ongoing. It is targeted. It is systematic. Boko Haram and other jihadists are targeting Christians, are targeting churches, are targeting schools. We're going to lay out the facts of what's going on. The government of Nigeria is pressing back and saying, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. We're going to give you the facts, and we're going to talk about legislation I've introduced to hold the government of Nigeria accountable and to pressure them to finally stop the mass murder of Christians.
Amen to that.
Yep, that's from Ted Cruz. So hopefully we'll see how this goes. But again, you know how I feel about all of this. Like my favorite scripture, I will look up to the hills from whence cometh my help. My help does not come from Senator Ted Cruz. It does not come from Riley Moore. It does not come from Trump, nor from his family members, the ones that are known for telling lies. It does not come from any of these people. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Okay? Let's just read that Psalms, and use that to encourage ourselves. That's Psalm 121. Let's just read it together and use this to encourage ourselves, because trust me, there's no other encouragement that is coming. This is where our encouragement lies. I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not suffer your foot to be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. The Lord shall preserve you shall preserve your going out and your coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Let me read it again. I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. The Lord shall preserve your going out and your coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen. Let me read it one more time. And let us, as I'm reading this last time, just feel the words of the Lord in your ears, comforting you. So if you are a Nigerian who is seeing all this, especially my Christian brothers and sisters living in those parts of the world, I'm not even sure any of them have time to watch my 3-hour long live stream. But if any of them stumble across this, this is what's, this is God's message to them. And this is the consolation that I have for them. Psalm 121, which says, and I read again, I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither sleep nor slumber. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve you from all evil. He shall preserve your soul. The Lord shall preserve your going out and your coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Okay? Your help comes from the Lord. The Lord is your help. Your help comes from the Lord. Your help does not come from Donald Trump. Your help does not come from the West. Your help does not come from the East. Your help does not come from the North. Your help does not come from the South. Your help comes from the Lord, the creator of heaven and earth. Whatever it is you are going through, the Lord is on your side. The Lord is on your side and he's watching over you. Okay? The scripture says his eyes is on the sparrows. I want to read that scripture. Sorry, I'm in my preacher mode. Okay? Give me a second. Matthew 6 verse 25. Let's go to Matthew chapter 6. Start from verse 25. Therefore I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air, for they neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? Which of you by worrying can add 1 cubit to your stature? So why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. And yet I say to you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Now if God so clothes the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For all these things the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knows that you need these things. But I say, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own thing. Sufficient for the day is the evil thereof. Your heavenly Father clothes the lily of the field, feeds the sparrows, and he cares for you. He cares for you. He cares for you. He cares for you. First Peter 5 verse 7. Another very important passage of scripture. 1 Peter 5 verse 7. Scripture says, this is Peter talking, he said, therefore humble yourself. Let's start from verse 6. Therefore humble yourself under the mighty hand of God, and that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your cares upon him, for he cares for you. He cares for you. He does what? He cares for you. He cares for you. He cares for you. Anyways, moving on. Let's move to the third thing that we are talking about today. And that is from our good friend Matt. And give me a second, let me pull out his stuff. See me, I just left this stuff here. Here is from my good friend Matt Walsh. And update from how Matt Walsh has been going and how his no enemy to the right has been going. here is Candace Owens agreeing with him. You know. So yesterday we looked at this tweet where he said, what annoys me is when people claim that I must denounce so-and-so or say such and such because it's the principled thing to do. They haven't even considered the possibility that perhaps I have different principles that they do. Those might be your principles, but they aren't mine. So essentially, this is from the last time we spoke. I said this is proof that that Matt Walsh's principle, the principles he abides by, one of them that he holds sacrosanct, is the principle of tribalism. Matt Walsh is tribalistic. That is the reality. He is tribalistic. And I know there are many people who support him, who love him, and there are many great works that he has done. Okay? But he doesn't negate the fact that he is very tribalistic and will not call out somebody if the person is on the right. That is the truth. And that is why we have the likes of Candace Owens, celebrating this tweet and happy about, hearing this from her very good friend, Matt Walsh, who will not call her out when she's doing something ridiculous. Meanwhile, just today, after he finished saying this during the weekend, he came back on Monday to let us know that intolerance is a virtue. Here is Matt Walsh on Monday. After telling us on Friday that we should tolerate the right, those on the right who are doing egregious stuff and not, condemn them publicly. And we should, unify with everybody, join hands together to fight the left. Talking about, of course, to unify with everyone, to unify with the Groypers, with the Candace Owenses, with the Tucker Carlsons. To unify with them is to tolerate some of the things that they say that you do not agree with. Matt Walsh has when he was during the friendly fire conversation on Friday was defending Tucker Carlson, though he said there are some things that he has said that I don't agree with, but you are willing to band up with him, you are willing to join hands with him, probably because he's your friend or for whatever reason. So you tolerate him though you don't agree with him. Okay, Matt Walsh is somebody who tolerates. He tolerates a lot. There are a lot of things that he is willing to tolerate, right? So somebody here, this is Jenk, who of course I don't like, saying Matt Walsh said we need to be intolerant. Intolerance is a virtue. Intolerance is good. Intolerance is holy. Intolerance is Christian. Intolerance is moral and courageous. This is why I am on the left. That's Jenk saying that. This is why he's on the left, because the right is intolerant. When some on the right say this about any of us, Muslims, blacks, gay people, etc., you are saying we don't want you. Okay, I heard that loud and clear. Then do you expect my vote after you told me you can't even tolerate me? I know he doesn't speak for everyone on the right or even a majority, but it's guys like him who use culture wars to divide us. Another reason why I hate the culture wars. I think our greatest strength is when we are the United States of America. Of course. So this is somebody who is speaking Matt Walsh's language from Friday. Let's unite. Let's unite over the things that we oppose, that we are commonly opposed to. That's Jack is re-echoing the same rhetoric of Matt Walsh from Friday. Let's unify against the things we don't like in the country. Let's all come together and fight things we don't like. Yes, we may not agree on so many things, but let's put our differences aside and work together. And for us to do that, Jack is rightly pointing out that for us to do that, there are things we have to tolerate. And he's saying for Matt to come out and say he doesn't tolerate, we need to be intolerant. And that is contradictory to the statement of unity. And here, Matt said intolerance is a virtue. Now let's look at the statement in itself. That is not, there are things like intolerance. Intolerance in itself is not a vice or a virtue. It depends on how you use it. And it depends on what you are tolerating and what you are not tolerating. Okay, there are things you should not tolerate and there are things you should tolerate. Okay? There are things you shouldn't tolerate and there are things you should tolerate. So depending on what you are tolerating and what you are not tolerating, you might be virtuous or not being virtuous, which is something that this guy here, Gummy, pointed out. He said sometimes yes, sometimes no. You should not extend tolerance to the intolerant. But tolerance is also a virtue sometimes. It depends on the context. This is silly. And what did Matt Walsh say? Well, here is what he had to say. And then he said some of the conservatives, in quote, conservative accounts on this site are now trying to explain why intolerance is bad. These people are going full Bill and Crystal. It's kind of amazing to watch, sprinting to the left as fast as they can. They will be unironically posting about racial justice by the summer. Bookmark this. Where does he get any of these statements? Where is he getting any of these from? See, I know people like Matt has a lot of fans, and many of them are pretty much, it's just the truth that in podcast space, we have some people whose fan base are now a cut, their fan base are essentially, especially their hardcore fans, are like a personality cult. It's not, they don't agree with you because they see reasons with you. They agree with Matt Walsh because it is Matt Walsh at this point. Which is not really the fault of Matt Walsh. It's just how things like this happen. And many of them die-hard fans. I know so many of them listen to me. But I want to say this. What Matt is saying here is wrong, and he's lying. He is lying. See, be able to, even when you love somebody so much on social media or whatever personality on this alternate media landscape, whoever it is that you love and you appreciate their work, be willing to acknowledge that they are wrong and when they are lying. Matt Walsh, let me say this. He lies. Whether he knows that he's lying or he doesn't know that he's lying, he lies. Matt Walsh misrepresents people who criticize him. Many times when he's on his show attacking people who criticize him, go and listen to what those people said. Don't listen to the interpretation Matt Walsh gives you. Go and listen to what those people said, and you realize that he's lying about what they said. When they make this is one thing I've noticed about Matt. When somebody makes a very strong point, he misrepresents it, builds a strong man, and then attacks the strong man. And his fan base are too slow to notice it. That's what he's doing here. A legitimate concern is being raised, and this is his ridiculous response against something that wasn't said. I know he's a great guy on the right, and I have no problem if you like him and you stay. I'm not saying stop listening to him. Still listen to him if that's what works for you. If you like stuff like that, keep listening to him. But be careful. That's all I'm saying. Be careful when you listen to the light. He's lying here. Many people have been pointing out since last week. Of course, people we are not calling, despite contrary to what he might be telling you and how he's playing the victim about how people are telling him, you must denounce this person, you must denounce that person. That's not what people said to him. Matt Walsh came on his own. Nobody troubled him. Nobody disturbed him. Nobody harassed him. Nobody. Matt Walsh came on his own last week and started attacking people on the right. Attacking them, saying that they are too quick to criticize people on the right. And that the problem in the right is that there is a lack of unity. That is Matt Walsh coming out. Nobody said, Matt Walsh, what do you have to say about the problem of unity? No, nobody asked him. They don't ask him question, nothing. He came on his own and started attacking other conservatives for pointing out the anti-Semitism on the right. And he's saying, of course, he wasn't attacking those people directly, but he was talking about unity on the right. Oh, there should be unity on the right. We should all come together. And the problem on the right is that people on the right don't stick together. That was what he was talking about and was calling on the right to unify. We should all unify. And then he was, wangling his finger at those who don't want to unify, who like to call out other people on the right, who will not want the right to stick together against our common enemy, which is the left. He was the one who started this entire conversation. When he did, people said, okay, you want us to unify. What exactly are we unifying with? With whom are we unifying with on the right? That was all. Are we unifying with Candace Owens? Are we unifying with Tucker Carlson? Are we unifying with Nick Fuentes? That is all. Everybody was asking him, please, Matt, specify who exactly on the right do you want us to unify with? What do you mean by this statement? And people who point that out, instead of Matt Walsh to respond to them, he kept replying in vague general terms. Vague, he kept it vague and general, refusing to address specific questions he's being asked. And when people we are frustrated with him and frustrated with the fact that he's not giving any clarification, and we are like, you know what? No, we are not unifying with anybody. Okay? Keep your unity to yourself. Shove it where the sun does not shine. He played the victim They are attacking me. I called for unity. They don't want to unify with me. I am the one who I want to bring people together. They don't want to bring people together. And here is something. If you're a Matt Walsh fan, at the very least, recognize just the ridiculousness of somebody like Matt Walsh calling for unity. There's nobody that is as divisive. Okay, there is no person on the right that is as divisive and as controversial as Matt Walsh. It is very rich, as rich can be. Coming from him to be calling, it's like somebody who is the most divisive figure you can ever find in the political conversation, calling for all of us to unify. You're like, you, Matt Walsh. You that attack, when it comes to people who attack people on the right, this is one that I find completely ridiculous. When it comes to attacking people on the right, Matt Walsh is king. He has a track record of doing that. But the moment he calls for unity, and people are like, okay, unifying with who? He plays the victim. Here he is, attacking conservatives, putting them in air quotes, ready to kick them out of the movement. Ready to revoke their conservative card by putting it in air quotes. And then he said, even if you agree with whatever pedantic dumb points this guy is making, the point is that a certain segment of conservatives' accounts have decided to be obsessively counter-signal everyone on the right at every possible opportunity. That's how it begins with David French. Bill, shut the hell up. Just shut up. I've never seen somebody who is allergic to criticism, constructive criticism. He's allergic. He's an allergy, that Matt Walsh. Whenever somebody criticizes him, he has skin reaction. They have to rush him to the hospital. Or he will go and throw a hissy fit on daily cancellation. I've never seen somebody who is allergic to being criticized. I've never seen. Nino Ayemi, I have never seen. What kind of human being is this? Somebody, I believe he point out, I'm so confused. Haven't you been arguing for tolerance/unity for bad people/behavior on the right for the past week? These are people who used to support. These are not people who have been vehemently against Matt Walsh. These are people who have been his supporters for a very long time. Even they are like, Matt, what is wrong with? Is this not what you were advocating for last week? Tolerance. Now you are mocking this guy for saying context matters when it comes to tolerance. But you tolerate what Candice is doing to Turning Point USA and Erica. You tolerate it. You keep quiet about it. The hypocrisy, the double standard. See, you see this behavior from Matt Walsh will lead to the end. If it continues unchecked and many idiots on the right adopt this behavior and this mentality, the conservative movement will crush itself. It will crush itself. Because I've never seen anything that is counterproductive, counterintuitive, and very stupid than this behavior. Pioneered by one of the prominent figures on the right. I would rather, honestly, I would rather he's with Tucker Carlson. I would rather he's with Candace Owens than this rubbish. I have more respect for Candace Owens. At least she's able to say what is on her mind and say it plainly. She wants to be crazy. She goes all the way. I hate people with partial commitment to stupidity. Go all in. Let us know exactly. There's something we say in Nigeria that if you want to eat a frog, eat a big one so that when they call you a frog eater, you will boldly say, yes, oh, moi, it's me, I ate frog. I ate that frog and I ate the biggest one. Go for gold. Stop settling at the bottom. Go for gold. If you want to be a ridiculous person, go full retard. I encourage you. And here he is again, because in the No King protest that was happening on October 18, somebody said, said this about Charlie Kirk and said he's a piece of garbage, and that, essentially saying he's basically Hitler and she's happy that Hitler is there. I don't want to play the video. So those who have, those who still consider it to be sensitive will not get triggered. Okay, I don't want to be, at this point, people on the right are looking like they need trigger warning. And then here is Matt Walsh saying, I will never forget conservatives who line up to denounce naughty jokes in a group chat while the left openly says stuff like this. The most pathetic and obtuse display I've ever seen from our side. Matt, see, when Charlie died, the first few hours after his death, I was watching so many things that people were saying on social media and how they said this is a pivotal moment for people in America. This is going to turn this country around. This is going to lead to something. And I was like, politically, this may be the end of the conservative movement because there's nothing as you see, people criticize Candace Owens for taking advantage of Charlie Kirk's death to promote herself. But Matt Walsh is doing something similar. When he's criticized correctly, he uses the death of Charlie Kirk to defend himself, making an emotional argument. As if there is two choices. It's either you go against the left. Matt Walsh, right now, there are conservatives that are making up stories and trying to make Erica, the widow of Charlie, to look bad as if he's the one responsible for the death of her husband, or at least complicit in his death, and is part of the cover-up of what actually happened to him. And the people who are pushing that conspiracy theory on your side, many of them are your friends. You people probably dined together. There are many people who are trying to hijack the conservative movement, exploiting the death of Charlie. One of them is Nick Fuentes, who, when we saw last week, was now #1 on Spotify, political podcast in America. And that happened right after the death of Charlie. On Rumble, he is #2. #1 is Alex Jones. These are people that are exploiting the death of your friend, using it to advocate for things that he never advocated for. If you're talking about people who are exploiting your friend's death, this includes those people. But you are too myopic, too narrow-minded. Too narrow-minded, that the only thing you see that is wrong in the world is some leftist. And that is discrediting your criticism of the left. You are the one, Matt, you are the one discrediting yourself. You are the one hell-bent on making yourself to be considered an unserious person. Because as far as this conversation is concerned, you are sounding unserious, very unserious. As if you cannot criticize the left for how they are talking about the death of Matt. Why also criticizing some people on the right and how they are talking about the death of Matt? You will spend hours. Listen, let me tell you, you may not know this, but on the grand scheme of things, as far as public conversations are concerned, what is dominating the public conversation with regards to Charlie's death is what Candace Owens is saying about it. Nobody even what you say about it is not top 10 on top 5 on Spotify. It's not top 10 on Rumble. Most people are not even paying attention to that. What they are paying attention to is what Nick Fuentes is saying about it. What they're paying attention to is what Ian Carroll is saying about it. What they are paying attention to is what Tucker Carlson is saying about it. What they are paying attention to is what Candace Owens is saying about it. Candace Owens have called for people on the left and for people on the right. You know the people on the left, those ones that you think are the enemy. She has called for all of them to unify in solving the mystery, the greatest mystery of her time, which is the death of her very best friend, of course. Doing everything to undermine the narrative you are fighting for. She's undermining you on a daily, constant basis. But you are so obsessed with what some random idiot on the street is saying while holding a flag. Somebody who have lost, whose side of the political divide has lost and is losing. And I'm not saying you should not be obsessed with that too. If it's your prerogative, go ahead and bash whoever you want to bash on social media. But for you to turn around and then criticize people who are also calling out Candace Owens for doing something even worse than what this lady is doing. For you to go back and bash those people. And say, oh, they are denouncing naughty jokes. As if everything that they criticize that was spoken about from last week is all about jokes. This is how you make yourself an unserious person in conversations like this. And of course, what is hypocrisy without Megyn Kelly? What is this kind of ridiculous narrative and sentiment without Megyn Kelly inserting herself into it? Megyn Kelly, that just her last guest was Anna Kasparian. Here is oh, this is what we are dealing with. Stop commenting on young who is commenting on young Republicans' text? Who is still talking about the text messages right now? Who? This is what we are dealing with. Not Candice. Not Nick. Not the rising anti-Semitism on the right. Not the fact that even you will admit that most of Americans, including Republicans, in fact mostly Republicans and conservatives under 30, do not support Israel. Or some of them don't even think the nation has the right to exist. That is not concerning. And the anti-Semitism that is brewing amongst them, it is just Republican text messages. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is why when I look at, today I was on social media when I was preparing for this live stream, and I was looking for at Nigerians who are calling the attention of people on the West and being like, hey, please talk about the genocide of Christians and all whatnot. And I was looking at them and I was like, these Americans look like they need to be helped. They look like they need to be helped. They can't even help themselves. They can't even denounce evil on their own side. Those are the people that can help you. Sorry, but they are not. They're not. They are busy being tribalistic. People who are focusing on owning the left will not think for a second about the Christian genocide in Nigeria. That's not their interest. That's a distraction, okay? That is a huge distraction. For example, this is one thing that Matt Walsh can tolerate. He can tolerate something like this.
The institution of slavery is not inherently evil. I know. Some of you guys are upset by that. Some of you guys are saying, I've been saying that for years. Okay, I'll take it a step further. It is not inherently evil to own another human being. I know. Just wait. Some of you guys are really upset, but let's talk through this, because it is very important that every Christian affirm what I just said. And not only should they affirm it, every Christian in today's society should be able to defend what I just said, okay? Every Christian should be able to defend it. Big evangelicalism has been getting this wrong for years, basically since the Genesis, since the advent of Big Eva. They haven't had a good answer for the slavery issue. All right, Christians in America have been led astray on this topic. They've been led to believe things that the Bible doesn't teach. And when we go beyond the Bible, there are dire consequences.
Yeah, that guy, there's nothing wrong with him, okay? That guy believes that there's nothing. Jesus Christ. And you might be like, this guy is very insignificant. Why are we worried about him? Okay, good. Here is Pete Hegseth on a live stream, on a podcast with him. That is it now. If you want to become prominent in American political podcast space, you have to be like this guy. And if you play your cards well, you have Pete Hegseth on your podcast. Likely get JD Vance while you're at it. 2 for 1. I'm telling you. But there is no problem on the right. The real problem is on the left. I want to read this tweet. I believe it's important and, see where we go from here. This is Abby Libby. She's saying, I'm so tired of the deceitful discourse and the false binaries. I spent the final month of my last pregnancy not knowing if I would survive or my baby would survive. We came so close to the edge. My boy spent 2 weeks in the NICU and I was sick a long time after. And throughout that time, I received hundreds of death wishes from the Groypers horde. Weeks of coordinated attacks where every single medical update post was flooded with the most vicious wishes for death and suffering you could imagine for myself and my tiny baby boy. They even made an account to harass me while we were in the hospital called Abby Libby's Baby, which posted bloody fantasy about my baby dying. the PFP was my face with the Star of David. That's the profile picture was my face with the Star of David drawn all over it. I will never forget any of this. So to all of you still pretending, you think this conversation has just been about a group chat leak. So those who have been signaling over and over that you don't care about groypers, if you don't care that groypers have infiltrated the right and that we should unite with them. To those who continue to mock and slander those of us who said the group chat was an indicator of a bigger problem we need to address. To those who defend their alliance with the groyper cancer because the left shared Charlie's mother and because the left murder babies, because the left is evil. Spare me. Groypers are no less evil than the leftists. They have worked less quantifiable physical evil to date, only because they currently lack the power to enact their explicit, horrifying wishes and plans. And if you haven't experienced that evil yourself, it's only because you haven't stood against them. It's because they believe you might be sympathetic to them. It's because they still think you might be useful. I'm so tired of the bad faith, deceitful arguments when this is the reality. And of course, she's going to say, I'm not referring to Matt here, but come on, this fits. If this is not referring to Matt, then you are referring to no one. Okay? Because that is what is happening. There's the deceit. There's a way to make it look like, oh no, any attack on the groypers is an attack on the leaked group chat. That is what it is being couched at right now. Oh, you're just clutching your pearls because of some 19-year-old, in fact, some infants at this point. We are just chatting something in a group chat. Some insignificant infants, between the ages of 0 and 10. We are saying something in a leaked group chat and you are caring so much about it. That is insignificant. What is significant is the thousands of leftists who have lost their job because we tried to cancel them and we succeeded because they were cheering Charlie's assassination. That is the real enemy. Now, granted, I'm trying to downplay people on the left, but the important thing is that both left and right, there is a problem. And if this is not understood and addressed properly, there is going to be real problems on the right. In fact, there is already real problems on the right. Lastly, I want to read from the book of Luke. Do I still have my Bible app on? I think I do. Is this it? Which one is it? I don't think I have it on. All right, let me see if I can pull up my Bible app. Luke chapter 14, verse 26. Luke 14:26. And that is how we end this live stream. I'll end it with this scripture. I know some of you may be wondering why this matters, but you'll see very soon. Let's start from verse 25. Now great multitudes went with him, and he turned and said to them, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. And whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. I want to read this again, and I want people to think about it very deeply. Let me read verse 26 again. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Let me read it again. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Of course, Jesus is not advocating for hatred here. Because if you read through scriptures, we have been called to love. Love your enemies. Pray for those who, So what does he mean here by hating? It is explained in another scripture. That's John chapter 12. John chapter 12. Let me see. 12:25. Let me read John 12:25. And here Jesus said, verse 25, he who loves his life will lose it, and he who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternity. If anyone serves me, let him follow me, and wherever I am, there my servants will be. If anyone serves me, him my Father will honor. But there's a scripture I'm looking for. It's not this one in John 12. Okay, Matthew 19. Matthew 19, verse 29. Let me get that. Matthew 19. Let's start from verse 23. He said, then Jesus said to his disciples, assuredly I say to you that it is hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And again I say to you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. When his disciples heard this, they were greatly astonished, saying, who then can be saved? But Jesus looked at them and said to them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Then Jesus answered and said to him, see, we have left all and follow you. Therefore, what shall we have? So Jesus said to them, assuredly I say to you, that in the regeneration, when the Son of Man sits on the throne of his glory, you who have followed me will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And anyone who has left house, or brother, or sister, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold and inherit eternal life. But many who are first will be last, and the last first. So what is Jesus saying here when he told his disciples that anyone who will come after him have to hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even his own life? What that means is that everything else have to be secondary, and every other relationship has to be secondary, have to be subjected to your relationship with Jesus as his disciple, such that you are willing to go wherever he sends you, even if that will mean you separating or going against your father, your mother, your wife, your children, your brothers, your sisters, even if it will mean you putting your own life at risk. That is the call that everyone who is a believer has been called to. That is the sacrifice that many Christians in the northern Nigeria are facing every day. All the things that they are suffering, all the threats that they find their life under every day is because they are Christians. If they renounce Jesus today and become Muslims, all of these attacks will cease. But they have held on to the faith. Many of them have been attacked by their own siblings. There are stories we've seen of children trying to kill their parents, parents trying to kill their children because they renounce their Islamic faith and come to Jesus. Many Christians have been attacked and with false accusation of blasphemy because they are Christians in northern Nigeria. But they are ready to take that stand because they value their relationship with Jesus. They value being disciples of Jesus over their own life, over their relationship with father, mother, brother, and sister. And they are ready to embrace Jesus publicly and speak the truth publicly, even though it will mean the death of relationships. Okay? Give me a second. But unfortunately, we have many people in the West who are not willing to do that. In fact, instead of seeing the principle of esteeming the relationship with Christ above everything else, they esteem the relationship with so-called brothers, sisters, and friends over their relationship with Christ. Christ has called them to denounce evil. See, as a believer, you have been called to denounce evil, not just privately, but publicly. God wants you to denounce evil publicly. Okay? He wants you to denounce evil publicly. He wants you to speak against it publicly. You know, Matt Walsh was saying, not every denouncement must be public. No. God has called you to publicly stand against evil. It doesn't matter who is saying it. You are to publicly stand against evil. And those who are afraid to do this are those who still value their earthly relationships. Earthly relationship with their relationship with, or against their relationship with Christ. Their principle, the tribe that they identify with is their political tribe. Not the tribe of the lion of the tribe of Judah. No, that's not the tribe that they associate with. Christ is secondary. Political affiliation is primary. And they think they are doing the Lord's work. That is what I find interesting. They think they are doing God's work. They think they are soldiers of the cross, affiliating and aligning with people who are far from Christian, far from godly. Of course, I'm not saying politically all the only people you should align with are Christians. But to have no standard for God first, for the truth of the gospel first, for the truth itself, just the truth itself. To say, you know what, I am for truth. And yes, saying the truth will offend so many people that I hold to be friends. Calling them out will not go well with my relationship with them, but I have been called by God to speak the truth, even when it hurts people that are my friends. They do not hold that. And not only that, they turn around and attack people who are deciding to hold steadfast to the truth. This is what I find to be very, very scandalous of the political Christian movement in America. It is so many things but Christian. The right wing, many of people on the right in America are so many things but Christian. Their principles are not godly. They are ungodly. These people are more in love with the world than they are with Christ. They claim to be soldiers and vibrant fighters to fight against abortion. And they think by doing that, God will give them a pat in the back. And God is like, what about righteousness? What about truth? What about virtue? What about real virtue? What about your friends? You are busy knocking on the door of your enemy, bulldozing their houses, while your friend is an atrocity. The things you condone in the name of you are fighting for whatever, they will end up shaping who you are. The scripture says, don't be deceived. Evil communication, corrupt good manners. He is my friend. We share the same table together. Fine, beautiful. But when the truth is at stake, see, the Bible said, heaven and earth will pass away. Everything, you see, this world and everything you are seeing in it, your big cathedrals, your Western civilization, all of it is fleeting. It will pass away. I'm not saying you shouldn't fight for it. You should. But it will all pass away. All of it, heaven, earth, everything will pass away. One thing I've learned about this world that God has taught me this year, the scriptures, the Bible has taught me this year, is that everything in this world is temporary. Everything we are fighting for, even your very breath, is fleeting. When it's all been said and done, God is not going to ask you, did you maintain your friendship with Tucker Carlson? I hope you were a good friend to him. He will ask you, did you speak for truth? Did you speak for truth? Did you speak the truth even when it will cost you your friendship with Tucker Carlson? Did you speak for truth even when it will cost you your friendship with Candace Owens? Or did you, when it was time to speak the truth, say, you know what, friendship first. If I've dined with someone, then I cannot publicly speak against them, even when they are constantly undermining the truth. I'm going to leave my fans in confusion about where I stand. Many of the growers are gravitating towards Matt Walsh for this very reason, because they think he's useful for their movement and that his fan base is the kind that they can exploit. And that maybe one day he too will be sympathetic to their cause. And he knows. And he will rather flatter and humor them than he will rebuke them because he has shared the table with one of them. And because, remember, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Well, Matthew 16. Sorry, Matthew 6. Matthew 6, verse 19. Do not lay up for yourself treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. I encourage everyone listening to the sound of my voice. I know you care about Nigeria. I know you care about Israel. I know you care about the United States. I know you care about so many things. But I encourage everyone listening to me, lay up for yourself treasures in heaven. Lay up for yourself treasures in heaven. And how do you do that? How do you lay up for yourself treasures in heaven? Verse 31 tells us, therefore do not worry. What shall we eat? Do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For after all these things the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knows that you need all these things. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. What is this? How do you lay up for yourself treasures in heaven? By seeking the kingdom of God first, seeking his righteousness first. And the first step to doing that is accepting Jesus into your life. Accept Jesus into your life. And you have for yourself treasures stored up in heaven, where none of these things of this earth can affect. Don't be so attached to the things of this world that you end up like the people we've discussed. That is the moral of the story. Don't be attached to the things of this world that you end up like the people we've discussed. You end up like Mossad Bolus, a Lebanese Christian who puts business over the truth. Or you end up like Mahdi Hassan, who of course is an Islamist and who is laying up for himself treasures in a place that doesn't exist because he thinks he's going to get 72 horses. Don't end up like Matt, who values earthly friendship over friendship with God. Don't be like these people. Accept Jesus and follow him over everything else. That is my closing statement. I appreciate everyone for coming to this live stream. I appreciate all of you for listening to me. Even though nobody sends me money, it's fine. I will continue to show up for the live streams. Whether you give me money, whether you do not give me money, you get used to my face. Okay? Get used to this face. Because I'll keep showing. I'll keep showing up. And I'll keep saying the truth. Okay? And I really love all of you, and I hope the best for all of you. And with that said, peace to you all. I love you all. Peace. Till we meet probably tomorrow on Wednesday. Peace.